day, paranormal community, and thank you for partaking in this amazing episode of the Odyssey Files. I'm your host, Michael O'Neill. With me, and welcome back to the show, Mr. Anthony Hernandez. Good morning, Anthony. How are you?
I am doing well.
Good, excellent. I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Okay.
Because I should have talked to you about this before the show. But we got into other conversations and I just ran out of time and didn't get around to it. Even though we kind of alluded to it. So Dave is starting a long leave of absence from the show to heal and get better. He's about to have surgery, major surgery. And I'm hoping that at least for the next month, and who knows how much longer after that, you will come back and be the co-host. But I haven't actually talked to you about that yet.
Sure. I mean, yeah, it's not a big deal. I'm fine with doing it.
That's what I like to see. Mild enthusiasm.
No, I'm good with it. I just, yeah.
So yeah. From now on, at least for the foreseeable future, Mr. Anthony Hernandez will be the new co-host of the Odyssey Files here. Now, before we get into tonight's topic, I'm going to talk about this on the air, just in case somebody listening wants to chime in on this. But it occurred to me as I was going on the air, I really need a new opening. Because it used to be, good evening, good morning. But most people listen to this after the fact. So try to go more generic with good day. That just...
I still like the tonight thing, but that's just, I don't know, it just sounds right. But
I'm sure it sounds right, but we don't even do the show at night anymore.
At night, yeah, no.
So I can't do that. But if anybody thinks of a more catchier opening for me, please chime in, because good day just sounds so generic, and I'd like something a little bit more me as opposed to generic. But put a sock in that one for now. But if anybody has something that they feel would be good for me, please chime in. Unless you got something, Anthony, right now.
The only thing I can think of is, I think it was the Truman Show.
Good evening, good morning, good evening, and good night.
Yeah.
But that was his ending, though. It was, in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Yeah, that's what it was. It was good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
You just have to rework it for an opening.
Plus, I don't want to get sued. Because, I mean, honestly, that would be a good ending to the show. Instead, stay healthy, stay safe, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. But to begin, no, not really. And it doesn't seem, even though I could see myself doing it, it doesn't, I don't think it plays very well. Just be like, hey, wherever you are, I don't care. We're on the air. Or maybe that's just it. And we're on the air. Something like that. I don't know. And we're here. We're get ready to get hit with some knowledge. In which we have a lot today. So our topic is not necessarily paranormal, but it fits into the whole like government conspiracy type things, which obviously we have talked about many times over the years. But one topic we have not hit, because it's so complex and is drawn out for so many years, I guess I haven't wanted to wrap my brain around it, and that obviously is Project MK Ultra, uh, which it's not the same thing. You correct me if I'm wrong. It's not the same thing as the Manchurian Candidate. Those are two separate
No,
projects, correct?
no, it's actually part of the same. That was one of the goals they were working for. They were
That
looking
is
for a way
that is true.
to program someone. Yeah.
That is true. The whole Manchurian Candidate was to brainwash people to be
Yep.
unwittingly and unknowingly assassinators or assassins. There we go.
Yep.
Maybe if I could talk today. So you're right. So it's a sub program of MK
Yes.
Ultra. Okay, but not a lot of people, including myself, until like now, recent. Uh, MK Ultra started with a program called Project Paperclip. And before we get into Project Paperclip, I've done many, many shows that have talked about different projects the government has done. And I'm sure you have too. Has there ever been any talk on how they come up with such ridiculous names?
Well, they actually talk about MK Ultra, and I don't think the naming I don't think they named them the same anymore since then because of all the stuff that came out and to try to cover them up, to be honest. But MK was a designation for a technical field within the CIA, and the Ultra was like the top secret of the time. So it
Ultra
was
top
like,
secret.
yeah, but that was, I think, during World War One or World War II that those came about, and then, of course, it definitely evolved from now because now we have special access programs and that whole gambit of stuff where top secret isn't even the top secret, it's just a designation.
Yeah. Now we have like classified, top secret, above top secret, president's eyes only, and then however many levels above him. Uh, but I'm just curious if you've come around why we have Project Paperclip, which we're going to talk about here in a second. We have Project Artichoke, which
Yeah.
is part of this. Not part of this is like Project Donut. I mean, and this is again uh, part of it, but obviously Project Project Bluebird. Um,
Yep.
no, maybe that wasn't the one that we did. Now that I think
Yeah,
about it,
because Bluebird was renamed to Artichoke, which was
it's
then in
funny.
turn came to, yeah, which and then came to Ultra. So, yeah, it just I think they changed the names just to hide the programs. So,
Um,
surprise.
so what exactly is Project Paperclip, which started this whole long line of projects?
Uh, well, Paperclip was after World War II. They didn't want basically Russia or China or any other of our adversaries to get the scientists or the people with knowledge from the Nazi party involved. So we had to bring them over here for our own benefit. Is basically what Paperclip turned out to be. They brought, I think 1,600 people that were of questionable background, and the CIA, or what was the intelligence agency at the time, uh, we would call it whitewashing today. They called it bleaching back then, but basically they took their designations from being in the Gestapo and the SS, and they took that off their records because the president at the time said that we couldn't bring those people over. So they removed it from their records and then brought them over anyway.
And so this started in 1945 and went all the way to 1949. And as you said, 1,600 German and Austrian scientists, engineers, and technicians.
Yep.
And yeah, so President Harry Truman signs a directive for this program that anybody who was associated with the Nazi Party or did anything in association with them could not be allowed to come over into, to come over to help us.
Specifically, the ones that were involved with the concentration camps and the torture and all the really dark stuff that the Nazis did.
Right. And so, and this is where, it brings up the question of who's really in charge, because there's a
Oh,
couple of things. There's a couple of things in here where the president, who is supposed to be the commander in chief and in charge of all of our military, says you're not able to do this, and so people in the military, as you said, whitewashed the thing, took off the fact out of their records that they were part of the Nazi Party and brought them in anyways.
yes.
And all in the name of quote unquote national security, and pretty much gave them free reign and almost a blank check to
Pretty
do
much.
to do these experiments and stuff on human behavior.
Yep. I mean, they basically brought them over, and I think background stuff, they found out some of the things that they were doing, and of course, the Nazi people told them, "Well, we have ways of doing these things, and this is what we found, and this is the stuff that we've done." And they were like, "Oh, that's excellent. Come over here. We got a job for you."
We've we've got a job for you. Uh, so I mean that begs the question of, and I even mentioned it earlier in the show. Like, it's been said that there's like 20 something levels above the president when it comes to like the military and our military intelligence. And it seems to be that it existed even back then. If our military personnel is going against who they're, I guess, quote unquote, sworn to I don't want to say obey, but sworn to carry out the president's orders.
No, you definitely if you go back and you look at through all the years that this took place, Republican, Democrat, like it that doesn't really play any significance other than some of the people and the senators and stuff who eventually brought it out into the light and exposed it. But short of that, like those things are, I think, irrelevant to the big picture of people making the decisions, or at least the ones that affected the people like this did.
Exactly. Um, and there's some there, you mentioned in the research, and I hear it uh, all the time now because I'm avid news watcher. But everybody talks about the Gang of Eight.
Oh yeah,
Uh, the
oversight.
yeah, the top people in the Senate, the top people in the House, they have like that above top secret clearance to know all of our nation's little secrets. It and usually when I hear about it now, it's, as a member of the Gang of Eight, have you been notified of this? Nope. Like
Yeah,
we
no
haven't
clue.
we have no clue about this. We no clue was coming. We weren't informed. But that's obviously the current administration.
It
That's
it is it's alarming that the the lack of intelligence that the people making the decisions have about what's actually going on
yes,
and what has gone
exactly.
on.
Um, so they started 1947 to 1953. I'm sorry, 1947 to 53. The U.S. Navy then runs Project Chatter, which I, to their credit, is is a name that I can get behind. Like that makes sense to what they were
Which,
trying to do, because obviously they were trying to focus on identifying truth drugs,
yeah, true serum.
truth serum, and I find the fact that, and maybe it's just a TV thing. Yeah, you can let me know if I'm wrong, but it seems like even though they called it a failure, like they did not quote unquote succeed, it seems like we have truth drugs now.
Well, there's definitely stuff. I mean, even the LSD, I mean, it basically loosened people up to where they would start talking. And I mean, there are various drugs that will uninhibit a person and get them to start talking. But I mean, where do you draw the line on that stuff?
Do they ever draw lines?
I would say no,
I mean,
honestly.
to me, if you're going to bring over Nazis, like legitimate World War II Nazis, not like
Yeah, SS.
not like the douchebags you see carrying torches and saying this is our land, that we see nowadays, but like legitimate Nazis who did experiments on the Jews in like Auschwitz. And crap, I forgot where I was going to make my point here. But yep, I lost it. Wow, I must be tired. And,
So they
and
had I was gonna say they had basically what brought all that stuff on was, I guess, after the war and around that time, people that fought against them, they basically they thought they brainwashed them, but really it was they tortured them basically to the point where they were willing to basically admit to whatever to stop the torture. And so that's what really kicked off the Navy and the CIA and stuff like that, looking for a brainwashing or a truth drug that they could get the truth out easier.
well, and that all came about. Um, Obviously, this cardinal
Yeah,
that had
Mazinski,
Mazinski. Is that what it was? There it is. Yeah,
Mazinski,
Yosef.
yeah.
And when I read this, I almost thought that I'm like, this has got to be a fake name. I mean, because they're dealing with brainwashing techniques, and this guy's last name has mind in it,
Oh, yeah.
and I was like,
Mazinski.
that's fake. I'm like, that's got to be a
Gotta be
fake.
fake.
Um, but yeah, this Hungarian cardinal Josef Mazinski had this forced confession, this coerced confession, and that brought on this whole fear with our government that the Soviets have this ability to get information out of people.
Yeah.
But nowadays, if you have a coerced confession, like I don't know if they're doing it or not, but I mean, like for the past couple decades, like since the George W. Bush administration, like physical torture has been deemed non-reliable
Well,
anymore.
so speaking of Bush, you saw one of the names on that was involved with the director of CIA back in MK Ultra days was George H. Bush. He was
Did
actually
I?
one of the directors. Yeah, it's in there somewhere.
Because I saw Truman, I saw Ford, saw Reagan, but yeah, I never must not have
It
gotten
was
that
him
far.
and it was him and one of the other directors that didn't when it finally came out, didn't wanna release all the details because it would be too damaging to the CIA.
Yeah, anything that protects the illegal shit that we're doing, that's obviously more important than anything. Um, so I mean, so yeah. Anyway, let's get back to the timeline.
Okay.
There, I lost it. So yeah, Project Chatter. They're doing. Um, People understand that I suck at pronouncing horrible words, but
Yeah,
scopolamine.
that was scopolamine. That was a drug that originally they gave to women for during childbirth to try to ease the pain, but they found it was the side effects were terrible compared to, other drugs that I guess came out afterwards or alternatives to it.
Yeah,
But it
and
caused them
mescal.
to yeah, and of course, mescaline is a hallucinatory drug.
And then obviously LSD,
Yep.
which is still around.
Well, yeah. one
Um,
of the
Go ahead.
I was gonna say one of the things I kind of cut out of this just for my sake for time and stuff was one of the authors that for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was actually one of the test subjects from the universities for MK Ultra stuff, and that the book came from his experience in the program.
Hmm. I have actually never read The One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or seen
I've only
or
seen the movie.
I've not even seen the movie. For some reason, it's one of those things that's just like it doesn't really
It was Nicholson, so
yeah, I mean, I get that, and he's been heralded for his performance in it. I just for some reason it has never interested me to watch it. Um, so
if you saw The Shining, you saw basically kind of the same thing. So
I have seen The
he plays
Shining.
crazy really well.
He, he does he does do crazy very well. Um, obviously Joker for the
Oh
original
yeah.
Batman movie, perfect. Anyway, we're getting off track here,
Sorry.
taking
Yeah.
taking some entertainment detours, which is fine. We always do. Um, so the Navy is trying to do these uh, because of in 1949, obviously that uh, Cardinal Joseph Mazinski. Uh, has anybody ever? And I didn't see it, and I've never heard his name before. But has anybody ever said whether what he confessed to, and if it was actually true or not?
No, what he confessed to is basically or at least what I'm guessing is what he was told to confess to, because the things that he confessed to were obviously things that he didn't do. I mean, they were just outright lies, a lot of the stuff that he was confessing to. So, I mean, that goes back to the whole torture thing, and, like, I would say from medieval times, even, torture is not a I mean, you can get someone to say whatever you want them to say, but is it true? Like, I mean, there comes a point where no matter how much you torture someone, they're gonna say whatever you want them to say.
Yeah. Um, oh, okay, I remember now. Um, so 1950 and 1951, the CIA initiates Project Bluebird,
Yep.
April 20th, 1950, to study conditioning techniques, memory enhancement, and the control of individuals. Uh, and I realize now that they use blue way too much.
Oh, yeah.
So we have Project Bluebird, which is part of MK Ultra. We have Project Blue Book, which obviously is their top secret UFO research. And
That was the Air Force.
well, that was the Air
Air Force
Force.
was Bluebird, yeah,
Wait, the Air Force was Bluebird, or are you talking about Blue Book?
Blue Book.
Blue Book. Okay. I
Yeah,
was going to say because it says the CIA initiates Project Bluebird. The the the
yes.
the project that Dave and I made fun of, and rightfully so, was Project Blue Beam. That was the one that
I'm not sure what that
the,
one is.
oh please look it up because it's hilarious.
Okay.
Uh, I'm pretty sure there's like lasers involved to like take down alien craft or something like that. Like I can't remember what it was because it was many years ago that Dave and I did that show. Although he has told me recently that it's back in the news, but never told me in what way. So maybe we'll find something. But anyway, so Project Blue Bird
Okay.
is obviously the studying of the mind control research. Now, uh, is this the bread and butter of what MK Ultra was
I
Project
think so.
Bluebird?
I think Bluebird is the beginnings of the Manchurian type candidate because it's where they were trying to get people to do things against their will. You basically program them against their will. So I don't think assassination had stepped into it just yet, but they wanted to use them as weapons. So yeah, I would say so. I would say Bluebird was probably the the alpha for that stuff, and Artichoke was probably the beta section of that, and then Ultra was the actual go live with it.
So this whole the whole thing, everything, was based on fears of what the Soviets were doing
That's at
with
least how they sold it.
right. And so my question is, did we ever, or has there ever been evidence that the Soviets were able to do any of this?
I haven't dug into their side of it, and I mean, I don't know that you'd find that much of it anyway. But I was going to say there's probably since they seem to mirror what we do, I'm sure they did something along these lines as well. Although theirs is probably a lot darker because they don't have half the scrutiny that we do over here. So if this is what we got away with, I can only imagine what they got away with.
Well, the thing about obviously Russia, even nowadays, is that like the entire government is on board with doing whatever. Uh, here you have to hide it because you have people uh, to answer
Blow
to.
the whistle on you. Yeah.
Well, that would
Oh,
be
I
why.
think I lost. Are you there?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I hold on. You're gonna lose me again. Well, I only say that because I've decided not to uh, trust the streaming for this thing. Not yet.
uh,
I have an expander that I'm going to be buying here shortly. So I've been
okay.
running the last couple shows off my phone Wi-Fi, and that's worked. And for some reason, my phone Wi-Fi just shut off.
Oh,
And so
okay.
so that lag where I just disappeared was the switching back to the other uh, the original or internet. So I'll go until I freeze again, and then
The
hopefully you're
switchback.
talking at that, and then switch back. So hopefully
Okay.
you're talking at that time because we found out the hard way that even though I'm gone, the show continues.
I'm still here. Yeah.
Yep, you're still here. So as long as we're still on the air and there's one of us here, we're good to go. Um, so there's so many things, and we do it in government even now, where we act on fear and propaganda and like no evidence whatsoever. Uh,
Yeah.
i- let's just take our attack on Iran recently. Like you just had the intelligence community or whatever, who's typically pretty much correct if they all agree that Iran wasn't even close to having any sort of nuclear weapons and wasn't even working towards that at the time, and yet we bombed them anyway because it's like, oh yes, they are. We had this fear or whatever that we had to look a certain way and we had to do certain things. So, and as I'm reading over all of this research, that's the one question that it kept coming to mind is like, have we learned our lesson?
No, I
No,
don't think so.
no,
I
we
don't
have.
honest honestly, at the end of this, I would really question that this really stopped, or did this just really just change designation to a different name and a different they shell gamed it, I think.
Well,
I mean,
probably.
look at the budgets.
you know, uh, I hate to give her credit because some of the shit she says is actually crazy and she knows it. To me, anyway, uh, Steve has always been talking about movies, and they're trying to
You're
tell us the
breaking up
truth, and
now.
they're trying.
Oh,
Oh, here we go. Oh, am I back?
you're back now.
Yay! All right. Well, I didn't change. I didn't see that I was frozen. What was the last thing you heard? Because this is important.
Cena was saying
Oh, well,
something.
no wonder it broke up. Even the universe doesn't want me repeating it. But sorry, Cena. Um, but she's constantly talking about how movies and TV shows are like trying to tell us the truth, and they're
Right.
showing us this and that. And as I was reading this research, a bunch of movies flashed through my head. One of them on the budget is The Father in Independence Day. When the president gets to Area 51, he's like, "How do you get funding for this?" And he's like, "You don't think they spend $20,000 on a hammer, $60,000 on a toilet seat, do you?" And he's like, "Duh." And and now our budget, just in general, is so bloated and humongous that nobody has any idea where anything is going.
Well, did you see the and that's just the intelligence budget. So that would just be the gray and the black budget is the $99.6 billion for last year. And that's like, holy crap. Like, yeah, so yeah, I don't think any of this stuff really went away.
No, no, or it just got more advanced.
Yes. They got
Because
smarter
not
about
only
it.
not only did that pop into my head, but then like the Born Identity popped into my head. At the very end of that movie, you see the CIA guy. He's in front of the Congressional Budget Committee, and he's talking about Treadstone. He's like, this has all been decommissioned at this time. It was deemed to be, financially, you know, ineffective or whatever. He's like, but here's
You're gone again. You're broken up. Okay. No audio still, so we'll see. Okay. You're still gone, so dead. Um, you back? I don't hear any audio, but I see you.
there
There
you
you go.
go. For some reason, my microphone turned off. But okay, so anyway, uh, yeah, the CIA guy at the end of the Born Identity talking about how Treadstone was all but decommissioned, blah blah blah, flips over a new evidence. He's like, "Here's Project Blackbriar," which is
Yes.
the exact same program, only more advanced, more complex. But it's like this is a I can't remember the word, but it's a project that involves both the DoD and the CIA or blah blah blah, uh, yada yada. It's the same damn thing.
Oh yeah. I mean, so I avoided this topic for like the longest time because it just sounds too out there.
No, it
And
doesn't.
you think like there's no way that this stuff is real. There's like just no way. And I can't tell you how many people I would think that more people believe the UAP stuff and are more informed about that than they are about the things that have actually transpired in our historic record for stuff like this.
So here's my question to you, and we're not done talking about MK Ultra. This is kind of another detour
No.
here. Um, Construction zone at the present moment, if you will. But uh, it happened again.
We lost it.
I lost it. It's like right
I
there.
would I would say that part of this is definitely you talked about this being different from the normal stuff, but I definitely think this is
I got it
if you're
now.
looking at a puzzle piece, it's definitely a piece that goes in that puzzle that connects everything eventually together.
Okay, I realized the point I was trying to make.
Okay.
So, do you think people avoid MK Ultra not because I can't believe that our government would do something like that. I can't believe. Do you think that is the exact opposite? Like, because I read this stuff and I'm like, yeah, I can see our military doing that. Like, I believe MK Ultra even more than I do UAPs, and I fully believe in UAPs. But
So
there, hold on, there's a sense of shame that
yeah.
comes with MK Ultra. UAPs are not our fault. There's nothing that we did to
Did yeah.
bring to have UAPs. And so people are far more willing to be like, I want to know about UAP. They don't want to know about MK Ultra because that is our shit. That's our fault.
I think, and this is just me because I was actually just kind of doing my own little survey at work with coworkers and stuff.
I can't believe you do surveys on MK Ultra, but okay.
Yeah. Well, because you're like, well, have you ever heard of this? No. Okay. Well, have you ever heard of this? No. And like, I would say 98% of them never heard any of these things, never thought they were true, thought they were all, they just thought they were all stories for movies and stuff like that. So yeah, it's like, it seems so far out there. But you you talk about some of these things, and I think it's the fact that they don't want. I think there's a lot of people that don't want to believe that we would do this to ourselves or allow our government to do this to ourselves. But that goes back to the thing where you would say, where if the government knew about UAPs, would they allow a certain percentage of people to be abducted or experimented on? Oh yeah, for sure. There's no doubt.
We're probably in the room. We're probably supplying the probes. I
Behind the
mean,
glass, yeah.
I mean, uh, and we're going to get to that because that's very. I almost laughed when I read the part about the brothels and stuff like
Oh
that. So
yeah.
we'll get to that here shortly. Um, but I mean, it's uh, I think if there's anything that we as Americans are very good at, probably lead the world in, is burying our heads in the sand and not wanting to know about shit that we did on purpose. And I fully agree with you that if we're gonna do this, how many people was it? Did you say it was like 149 people? I think is what it
Or
was.
well, there was
That
149
that
sub projects.
149 sub projects. Okay, that's right. I knew 149 was supposed to be in there somewhere. Um,
Yeah.
but we have all these people that are associated with MK Ultra and all of their sub programs, and there's stuff that we did in the name of national security.
Yep.
I got no problem thinking that the military is going to give, extraterrestrials or visitors from another dimension, however you want to call them, access to do the exact same thing, especially if
Oh
they can
yeah.
do it better than us.
Just from reading about this, and when at one point when the CIA actually does an audit on their program and they tell them basically, hey, stop doing this stuff on the US soil. You need to be doing this stuff overseas because then we won't look as bad. Yeah, I can see be like, You want to do what to the people here? Well, we're not involved with it. So sure, go ahead, knock yourself out.
We're not doing it. Yeah, the CIA black sites. Yeah, it's but that wasn't always the case because,
Yeah.
like I said, there, and this is what I found some. What project was it? Um, I can't.
Which one
Oh,
are you talking about?
Operation Midnight Climax.
Yeah, I thought that's where you were going. Yeah,
Midnight
that
Climax. Wow, like they really hit it
yeah.
on the head. But the CIA, was it this? It was the CIA, right?
It was CIA with the Federal Bureau of
Okay.
Narcotics.
Yes. So multiple agencies involved in this had prostitutes
Yep.
on the payroll.
Not just prostitutes and on the payroll, but they set up 2 brothels, one in New York and one in San Francisco. Like, holy
Exactly.
crap, they set up brothels.
So if you're in Las Vegas, you never know what you're going to find when you go to these places. But they were rigged with two-way mirrors or one-way mirror, I guess you could call it,
Yeah.
and microphones. And these prostitutes would lace these guys that they lured in. They would lace their drinks with LSD, and guys from like the CIA would be on the other side of the glass in a room observing what is going on.
Yep.
Sometimes drinking cocktails while they are observing. And as I'm reading this, I just kind of chuckled and I was like, one of them whipped it out at least
Oh
a
yeah.
couple times.
Yeah. I was like, this is just opening the door for all sorts of terrible things.
Yes, like that. That right there was the origin story of a clean room. Was the where the that's not true. I made that up, but I'm just saying. Um, but yeah, so the CIA at this point in time made brothels, had prostitutes on the payroll, laced the Johns or whatever drinks with LSD, and then observed
What
what they could
happened?
do. Yeah, and observed
Yeah.
what happened. Had one in New York, one in San Francisco, and we did this shit. Uh, and this is what this is what passed for national security
Yep.
at that point in time. And how many shows, how many movies have we watched where they talk about how some spy was compromised because some sexy woman, dragged the information out of them.
Well, yeah.
And
Hell, it's happened recently in, I can't remember the congressperson, but basically had the girlfriend who turned out to be a Chinese agent.
yes, yes, indeed. Uh, I can't remember his name, but yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. And they both went to. I think no, she
She got
finally got
deported.
deported.
Yeah.
She got extradited
Yep.
back to. I thought it was back to Russia though. I thought she was a Russian agent.
No, she was at least the one that I'm thinking about was Chinese.
Oh no, we're taking them two different
'Cause-
ones because there was one in there where she was a Russian agent. This was back uh, in like 15, 16 when Trump was making his first candidacy where that came out. And yeah, she got extradited back to Russia. I can't remember her name. Haven't thought about that story in years. Um, and again, this is 1954 to 1966, so it's not like we're talking about in in 2015 like the CIA had
yeah.
brothels. Although I would not doubt if they still had them.
Yeah. It was,
So even though they've had for however many people they had in their program, there have been two deaths
yes.
associated
Uh,
with
One was Olson, who was the lead, I guess, chemist for MK Ultra, and basically he made the mistake of telling him he wanted to quit because he saw too much and couldn't take it anymore, and he wanted out. He didn't want to have to deal with it anymore, and so they dosed him at a retreat that he was at a cabin, took him to a apartment in Manhattan, and the official story was he jumped, but the the unofficial story is I'm pretty sure he got tossed out the window.
well, either that or he might have jumped. I mean, who knows what he was seeing at that time? But
Well, they said so the autopsy that they did years like in the 70s after like I think it was 20 years after. Basically his sons basically got his body re-exhumed and they did another autopsy on it. There were no lacerations from going through the glass and he had a contusion on his head. So he basically got hit in the head and no markings from going through the window that he supposedly went through. So kind of paints a picture.
yeah, and who knows? Maybe he wasn't tossed off out of a window. He's tossed off the roof and claimed that he went through the window. I mean,
Yeah.
I I would definitely back then they weren't as they didn't need to be as like dead
Just
on they didn't need to be as discreet.
yeah.
Yeah, they could the story was he jumped out the window, but he got thrown off the roof, and then they broke a window to make it look like that, and you fudge the report.
Yeah,
But
that
I mean,
probably is pretty accurate.
probably. I mean that is what stood for assassination back
Mhm.
then. is as long as the end result looked like it, you really didn't have to do much to make people believe it. Um, but and then, but so I thought that was the guy that got kind of thrown. I thought that was Ewan Cameron.
No, that was Frank Olson, Dr.
Hmm.
Frank Olson. He was the biochemist and worked under Sidney Gottlieb. And yeah, basically he saw too much. He saw one of the things he saw was someone get tortured to death at a black site. He talked about piles of bodies at his work, and he wanted out. And yeah, there was no way that was happening.
Right. So in 1964, MK Ultra is officially renamed MK Search, another rebranding. In 73, we have Watergate. So everything is being looked at under the Nixon thing, and so uh, the so DCI is Director of Central Intelligence, correct? Do I have
Which one?
that? DCI, that Director of Central Intelligence. Do
Yes.
I have that correct? Okay, I just want to make
Yeah,
sure I had the
Richard
DCI
Helms.
correct. Richard Helms. So he orders in 1973 the destruction of all the records of
Yes.
MK Ultra. Can't get much more cover up than that. Uh,
We just burn it all.
yeah, just I don't even think shredders existed back then. So yeah, you just you had a bonfire, you invited all your people over, and you just burned all the paperwork. Um, and then in 1975, we have the Church Committee, which is a Senate select committee to study government operations,
Yes.
and they televise these hearings about the existence and let the public know that Project MK Ultra exists. And this is almost like disclosure now
In a way,
because
yes.
they did the same thing for like Project Blue Book, where they denied it, and it's like, no, we have a committee that we've been studying this for decades.
Well, so part of I think what brought the church committee out also was, and it's a totally different subject, totally different. Well, not really different subject, different project is Mockingbird, and that's where they actually wiretapped some reporters to find out where the sources of leaks were coming from. And then there was a couple of articles that got published after that that basically said that they had over 400 people on payrolls at news agencies and media conglomerates to influence the narrative. And then Watergate broke and the church committee came out and it kind of started exposing it all.
As they should. Um, and so, because of that, in February 19th of 1976, Gerald Ford, president, signs executive. I can't go right. I go right back to Star Wars for this Executive Order 11905. Obviously, a lot longer than Order 66, but same thing.
Yes.
And this is obviously an executive order that says we are no longer going to be torturing people. We're no longer going to be doing things against their consent. We're no longer going to be trying uh, to do assassinations, like to create assassins to assassinate people. Of course, the military and the government and their infinite wisdom then just changed assassinations to what was it?
Targeted
Uh,
killings.
Targeted killing. That's right.
Yeah,
Uh,
because that's not assassinations.
yes. Well, I mean, and the thing is we're still doing that too.
Yeah, to
Um,
today. Yeah.
because and I don't know if it's real or not. I don't care. It's just dumb. But conspiracy theories say that that's why Trump was so hell bent on changing the name to the Gulf of America, because there are all these contracts and there's all of these decrees that we are not doing drilling or anything in the Gulf of Mexico, but if it's the Gulf of America, then we're
I
good.
hadn't heard that, but that's funny.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was just something that I had read a while ago. But yeah, that was the conspiracy theory that's why they were so hell bent on changing the Gulf of America, was so then they could do anything in the Gulf of America because there were no contracts or laws
Being
making
violated because it's
it
America.
because it's the Gulf of America, not the Gulf of Mexico, which is on all of these laws and stuff. Yeah, it's ridiculous, and I can completely see that happening then and
Oh
now.
yeah. Well,
Anything
I
for a
mean,
loophole.
it's stuff like this that breeds all these conspiracy theories, whether they're real or not real. Like this one is a real one, but I mean, you like, how do people come up with some of this stuff? Well, because the things that we actually did are pretty damn outlandish, and like you would never think they happened.
It's like, you think that's bad? Here's the truth.
Yeah,
I mean, sometimes these conspiracy theories are actually better
they're
than,
tamer.
well, they're tamer, and they put us in a better light than what the actual facts are.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and
So
all of this,
so
even though they tried. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say one of the things that, and even the documentaries kind of fudge on, is the Frank Olson dude, the doctor that got thrown out the window. Like a lot of the documentaries and stuff I've seen try to portray him as the innocent victim in it, which he really wasn't.
Mm,
Because before he even got involved with MK Ultra, he was involved with a thing called Project Ocean Spray, which was because he was a biologist. He was dispersing bacteria into the Bay of San Francisco to see its effects on the people of San Francisco and how it would disperse before he got into MK Ultra.
some some of these people, and you see it in shows all the time about people who create these massive, like, death stunts or sicknesses or whatever for profit or for this or for that. And I constantly look at them and watch it. And I'm like, how would anybody like I get it and I don't. Like, why would people put in a city of 50,000 people in harm so they can make a couple million themselves? Like, how could you do that as a human being? And then, and it's a TV show, so you don't really have to believe or not believe.
Yeah.
But there are people who are really doing this shit.
Well, yeah. When the CIA did the audit and everything with the two directors, and one of them being the George H. Bush, uh, one of the things that they did there was so that they wouldn't give the CIA a negative connotation. Not that they didn't want to keep doing the things, but that they just didn't want it to be on Americans. And the reason that they fought against that, or they wanted to keep doing it, and they ended up continuing with it on American soil, was because they said that if they didn't do it on unsuspecting people, then they couldn't get true results from it to make sure it was working the way that it was intended to work.
Just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um, and it's funny because uh, all of like all of the this information that we know now is all made possible because a FOIA request in 1977 led to the discovery of financial records
Yes.
for MK Ultra that were missed.
Yeah, 7 boxes that get put in the wrong place, basically is how it was discovered.
An administrative error brought down the entire United States government. I love it to death. It's the best movie I've ever heard of. In fact, I can completely see like Jason Statham being in a movie called Administrative Error.
The administrator.
Not even no, not a minute, not the administrator, because and I'm really looking forward to the Beekeeper Part 2 because that's an amazing movie. But um, but no, just administrative error. Like that's it. Like he's got to protect some secretary who misplaced something, something like that. It is ridiculous, but I could completely see it happening. Um, and obviously, then obviously from and this is what surprised me. Nowadays, we're moving up to 1995, so we're getting into my lifetime now.
Yes.
Now you have, and we've talked about before. In fact, Dave wanted to do a show on it, but maybe it'll be you and I then now. But he wanted to do a show on Project Stargate.
Which
And
is it's interesting, and I mean, it's definitely a a true project, so it's not something as crazy as it sounds, it's not one of the ones that's made up. And
yeah,
depending on who you listen to, like, that's another project that was supposed to have gone away, and as recently as last month, there were people talking about remote viewing still taking place within the government.
yeah,
So,
it,
again,
it, exactly. So since we're almost out of time here we've gone through the chronological order, so everybody knows now the order in which things happened, all the way up until 1995, and even today. So the thing that struck me in your research and is they labeled MK Ultra a failure. And so here's my question to you, and I'll answer it as well. Do you think that that's legit? And as a second part to this question, do you think, as you kind of just alluded to, is it still going on?
do I think it was a failure? In the fact that it was uncovered, yes. And the fact that it didn't produce anything, no. So one of the last things that I was when I was wrapping stuff up with it that I found was besides the budget going from back in the day when it first started 300,000 to the 99.6 billion now, um, was that they had a sub project 54, which was a concussion cannon, basically that they were basically trying to part of their James Bond weapons to kill people without leaving marks. Well, you go look at the if you go look at the results of this thing, it basically is almost 100% a polished up Havana syndrome weapon because it does the exact it works on the exact same principles as the Havana syndrome does and doesn't leave the marks and basically just scrambles your brains. So, yeah, I don't think it ever stopped, and I don't think we're
It
the only
just
ones that have that stuff.
uh, I mean, you saw the news articles in the last couple years. I'd say in the last 5 years. I think it's gone on, but they talked about um, the like the sound, the sound wave gun, where people at embassies and stuff were getting like
Yeah,
headaches and
that's the Havana syndrome is
okay,
what
so
that
that's
is.
the Havana syndrome. Okay, so that's the Havana
Yes.
syndrome. So we were talking about the same thing. I just didn't know
Yes.
that they had called it a compression uh, gun. It was
Well, it
always like
was they called it Subproject 54, which I think started with the Navy and switched over to the CIA with MK Ultra, and I was trying to find where it was, but basically, like I said, it works on the same technology that cannon works on, that the concussion cannon worked on. It's just polished up and refined now, from what I can tell.
yeah,
Yeah, resonance cavitation theory, basically non-contact brain injury.
yeah. And honestly, that's all you really need to take out. You don't need to shoot somebody through the heart or the leg. You take out their mind and they're done.
Nope.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I was gonna say scramble their brains and you kind of that person's not really a threat anymore.
exactly.
Now,
Um,
the scary part of that, and I didn't really touch on it in any of my stuff, was, you know, you say, did MK Ultra ever really go away? Well, these things happened at off country embassies. So is this a foreign adversary's weapon, the Havana syndrome stuff? or is this us testing our own stuff in a in overseas on our own people still? I mean, that's a question you can't. I can't see how you can't ask that question when you look at MK Ultra and you see what they've done in the past.
The thing about that for me is if it is us, and I can fully believe that it is, I think it's being done to blame, to like start the thought process that somebody else in the world has this technology. And the first thing the military is going to do is they're going to create the adversary in which we need to defend ourselves from. And so by attacking us on other soils, it starts the process. And the reason they're going through the embassy people and the people in the government is those are the people who make the news.
Yes.
If you attack me in Otsego, Minnesota, it ain't gonna make the news. It's gonna be local man loses his mind and goes to the hospital.
No
But
big deal. Yeah.
no big deal. Goes away in a day if it makes anything other than the paper. Nobody's gonna think twice about it. But you have career government officials and ambassadors saying, I don't know where this is coming from. I think I've been attacked. That's going to make the news. It's going to make the 24-hour news. It's going to make all the news. And they can start to thread the needle. They can start to sew that up and
Put it
steer the
together.
narrative.
Yeah.
Exactly. And all of a sudden it's like, well, Russia has this gun. We have proof. Because who else would attack our people? It's we have to have an enemy. And I don't say that as I agree with them, but we as a country and our government seems to always have to be at war with somebody or something. And if not, I don't know what we would do with peace. You and I would be okay. I'd love it. I'd love peace. I love to turn on the TV and watch the news and they're talking about corgi races at the halftime show. Would love it. We can't have it. Our government, our basic way of life would not be able to tolerate peace. We have to be better than somebody. We have to go after somebody. We have to go after something, regardless of what it is. And I don't know why. It's sad, but so do I think MK Ultra is still happening? I do, under obviously a completely different name. And it's probably evolved not so much to physical torture anymore, but as you said, how do we scramble people's brains? It's become more weaponry as opposed to intelligence gathering. Now,
Yeah.
in my opinion, so sad, but whatever. And of course, it's all done in the name of national security.
Yes. That everything is hidden for that or for that, it seems.
Yes, indeed. I mean, when you have a president who is going to take over $900 billion and transfer that out of the budget to modernize our nuclear silos and our nuclear weapons so that we can retrofit his new plane, we have a lot of money in government that can just be moved without any notice, without anything, without any knowledge. And I can't imagine it stops at 99 billion.
Oh, it doesn't. The gray budget is trillions of dollars. I just didn't include that stuff in there because that's its own story by itself.
That's crazy. Because that's crazy talk. Either way, people, I'm going to end the show by just saying, keep your head down. Don't go to brothels. Don't do
No.
anything that gets you attention at all. I'm just kidding. These are some things that we need to fight for, just for our own moral and ethical integrity, just as human beings.
Well, just
And
acknowledge their existence. I mean, I think that's a step right there, is just realizing that these things did happen and it possibly are continuing, and stop being lied to.
yeah, honestly, if you had a whole bunch of people that wanted to pop their head out of the sand and look around, there'd be a freaking front end loader to dump a ton of dirt back on top of you. It
These are not the droids you're looking for.
Not the droids you're looking for. All right. Do you have anything that you would like to touch upon for this topic that we didn't get to?
No, I mean, it like I said, you could take there's so much that could go in different directions, and it would lead to a whole nother conversations, because there's just, I don't know, it wasn't a rabbit hole, it's kind of a bottomless pit, because once you start looking, it's like, well, that can't be real. Let me look over here. Holy crap. That can't be
I
real. Let me look over there.
I, I just as you were talking, just before you talked about that, I was like, this isn't a rabbit hole. This is an ant colony.
Yes.
Because there's no telling which direction you can go. It's not one way down. It's
Branches
an
off into a billion directions.
it's a hundred of interchange type of things. So if you want to look into this yourself, be my guest.
I would encourage it. Enlighten yourself.
Because this isn't a conspiracy theory. It's fact. Whether
Yeah.
it's going on now or not, that until that's proven, and it will be at some point in time, somebody's going to pull that thread. This is going to release everything. We will, we'll look it up. Keep apprised. Anthony, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
We haven't discussed what we'll
Interest-
do next week, but there'll be something
Okay.
good, something amazing. But yeah, until that time, everybody stay healthy, stay safe. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.